Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD 1672, homage to a Seiko 62 Moss. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm still wearing this Porster, homage to a AP Royal Oak, and Greg was wearing my Addies Dive MY-H3-C. Grogu asked Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost if he felt guilty for blowing up Alderaan with the Death Star. Anakin said, "Don't look at me, that was all Tarkin's doing. I wanted to blow up Tatooine. I couldn't stand all that sand." Alright, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in your typical Pagani Design snapper box. And we have the Pagani Design cleaning cloth. And I'm not going to show you what's all in the box because you've already seen my unboxing. I know you did. And here's the watch. In 1965, Seiko released their very first dive watch, the 62 Mass, which started the long association with Seiko and diving, giving birth to such classics as the Tuna, Turtle, Willard, Sumo, Samurai, Monster, and SKX. The 62 Mass has gone the way of the dodo bird, but shows up occasionally as a reissue for collectors and enthusiasts. The latest limited edition reissue has a MSRP of $3,500, but you can find less recent reissues for a lot less, but still much more than a basic Turtle or Samurai. You have to be a real fan of Seiko and the 62 Mass to pay anywhere near $3,500. This Pagani Design homage to the 62 Mass is much more affordable, and being a Pagani Design, you get a solid steel watch with a sapphire crystal. Traditionally, 62 Mass watches have come on rubber straps, but rubber is not an option of this Pagani, but since it has 20mm lug width, more than likely you already have something that fits it. If you don't like the blue watch, there is also black, which is more 62 Mass appropriate, but I chose blue because that is what I usually do. If you don't like the big blocky indices, there is another option with thinner indices. I chose the big blocky because it matches the original watch. The watch is 42.2 millimeters if you measure at the bezel, but the bezel does overhang the case just a little bit. It's 47.7 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links. Yeah, they look like they're protruding, but if you see that they're even with the lugs, and so they are inverted. It's 14.7 millimeters thick, including this dome slightly boxed crystal. Has a 20mm lug width and weighs 160 grams on the supplied bracelet with 3 links removed. So it's a little heavy, but it is a 42, so yeah, that's not too bad. We have a 60-click unidirectional bezel, ceramic, and the action is pretty good. Nice big solid clicks. Not too much resistance, but not too light either. No back play. And everything lines up as long as you make sure you don't go too far. And this being a 62 Mass, you have minute markers throughout the whole bezel, which is not like most typical dive watches. Most only have it during the ascension phase. Then we have the dial. The dial has a nice sunburst effect. And then we have a chapter ring with the minute markers. And then we have applied lube indices. And we have big batons and even bigger batons at the majors. And at the 12, some 62 Mass have doubles and some have a really fat one. So this one has the really fat one. And like I said, some have it that way. So it's not a non-62 Mass style. Then we have the Pagani Design name and logo printed on top. Then it says automatic divers 100 meter on the bottom. Yes, it says divers with apostrophe S. So that's kind of a faux pas because you're not supposed to say divers with the apostrophe S unless you're ISO 6425 certified. And this one most certainly is not, because there's no way they could sell it for this price if they did, because for ISO 6425, you have to test each and every watch. Then we have a date at the 3 with a border. Looks nice. Some people don't like dates on watches because they think that it ruins the look. I think that looks fine there. And I don't mind that it's not color matched because it takes the place of a white Indus, so white looks just fine. Then we have the hands. We have stick hands, and they're loomed. And then we have a rectangular lollipop, not a circular lollipop. Then we have a signed screw down crown. The thread action's good. You don't feel a lot of thread resistance when you unscrew it. Pops nicely, and then when you go to screw it back down, the threads catch right away. Crown could be a hair bigger, but it's fine. And then we have the dome sapphire crystal. I wish it had some air coating. There is a lot of reflection, and I'm constantly cleaning this crystal because all it takes is just a little bit of smudge and fingerprint. It just ruins the transparency. So I almost wish it was glass, just because the crystal is just so hard to always cleaning it. Otherwise, it's really hard to see through. And then we have the case. The case is really nice. We have the brush sides and tops, and then we have this polished chamfered edge, and then it's brushed on the bottoms too. I think they did a great job with the case. Really good finish work. And then we have a screw down display case back. And then it says Pagani Design, all stainless steel, water resistant, 100 meters. Yes, you only get 100 meters. So this is just a desk diver. And you don't have a loom pip anyway. I forgot to mention that when I was going over the bezel. So yeah, this is not a dive style watch. It never, even though it said divers, it never would have passed ISO 6425 because of the lack of the loom pip and the only 100 meters of water resistance. And then the display case back, you see the NH35. I kind of wish they would have just had a regular case back in 200 meters because the NH35 is not the prettiest thing to look at. And for some reason too, Pagani Design never updates the rotor on their stock NH35s. They do on other automatic movements, but never the NH35. So it's just not much to look at. The NH35, of course, is the go-to movement for watches in this price range. It's a 24 joule, 3 hertz movement that hand winds hacks and has a bidirectional rotor. And they're usually fairly accurate right off the shelf. So let's go ahead and put it on the time grapher and see how this is doing. Here it is on the time grapher. It's running a little fast, +6, +7, +9, which isn't too bad. Amplitude's not too bad, but OMG, look at that beat error, 1.5 milliseconds. That's why you see 2 distinct lines on the screen. And that's some pretty bad beat error. Of course, if I had the choice between accuracy and beat error, I'd probably take accuracy. But yeah, I've never seen it that bad on an NH35. Of course, an NH35, they just grab them off the shelf and they don't regulate them, not on a watch in this price. So you're just going to get what they get you. And so your mileage may vary. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet does have solid end links, but the end links are kind of unusual. I think they work, but they're kind of inverted. And so they are solid, but they're not very substantial. There's not much to them. But once again, I think it works. It keeps the lug-to-lug nice and short. And then we have the bracelet itself. It's a 3-link, and we have brush sides and polished center links. And this is not fully articulating. They are fixed. And these do have screw pin adjusters. And nice thing about Pagani Design is their screw heads tend to be nice and big. So it's usually not that difficult to unscrew them. You don't have to find the smallest screwdriver in the world. And then we have the clasp. The clasp does have a diver's extension. I don't know who asked for that. We don't really need it. This is not a true diver. You're never going to wear this over a wetsuit. It would be nice if it didn't have the diver's extension, because then it could have had more holes for micro adjust, because you only have 3. And these are pretty big links. It'd be nice if they had at least 4. But they are close together, so you can hopefully get a good fit. And then we have the clasp itself. We got a milled lower, pressed upper, and it looks nice, operates nice. I like it. I prefer this to the Rolex style just because of the micro adjust situation. And this is not a Rolex homage, so why would they use that? I've had other watches that weren't Rolex homages though, and that use the Rolex clasp, so thankfully this one does not. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. That's a nice looking watch. It's a little chunky, but it wears nice, looks nice. I like it. I really enjoyed this watch. Has a good wrist roll. Once again though, a 62 mass is probably more appropriate on a strap, but I like this bracelet a lot. I think if I kept this watch, I'd just keep it on the bracelet. I'm not so much interested in homaging a 62 mass other than just having a nice looking watch. Here we are in the lume room. Pagani Design watches are notorious for underperforming in the lume department, but wearing the watch, I had a feeling that this watch was going to buck that trend. As we speed up the time, we see that the lume is doing quite well. Unfortunately, there is no lume pip, which seems like a bizarre omission since the original watch and most Pagani designs have pips. But on the plus side, the hands are actually better than the indices, which also bucks the Pagani design trend. This isn't going to win any lume contests, but it's still quite good. Too bad about the lume pip. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the looks and the solid build. I like the good bezel action. Nice, good, solid clicks there. I like the case. I think they did a good job with the case and these little polished chamfered edges. And I like these end links. They have the look of protruding, but they're not. So you still get a short lug to lug. And really, it has pretty good lume for a Pagani design. What are my gripes and groans? No lume pip. Man, if they would have just had a good lume pip, that lume would have been excellent. This sapphire crystal is just kind of hard to keep clean and see through. I wish it had some air coating. Don't say divers with an apostrophe S unless it's ISO 6425 rated. I don't make the rules. And it would have been nice if they had a strap option just for people that like the 62 mass look. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, this watch is great. I thoroughly enjoyed my time wearing this watch. It is solid and well built, looks and wears great, and will be a great addition to anyone's collection. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD 1672, and I will be back with another review or unboxing. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.